Hi, I'm Nick, and today we're going to show you how to resolve Android WCAG non-text contrast violations. WCAG 1.4.11, titled Non-Text Contrast, states that the visual presentation of graphical objects or user interface components has a contrast ratio of at least 3 to 1 against adjacent colors. WCAG defines user interface components as a part of the content that is perceived by the user as a single control for a distinct function. Examples include links, buttons, text input areas, and checkboxes. Notice, this criteria does not apply to inactive user interface components. Examples of graphical objects include icons and graphs. Notice, not every part of a graphical object needs to have a sufficient contrast ratio, but rather only the parts of the graphical object that convey information to the user. The intent of this success criterion is to make sure that active user interface components and meaningful graphics can be interpreted by users with moderately low vision without the need of additional assistive technologies. For more details on WCAG non-text contrast violations, check out this link here. Link also in the description down below. Let's go ahead and fix a WCAG non-text contrast violation with the help of the Mesmer JetBrains IDE plugin. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. Here we have a non-text contrast violation. Clicking on the object allows us to see the screen containing this violation, and clicking on the resource ID allows us to immediately pull up the XML file responsible for this violation. Now that we can see where this violation is located, let's pull up our emulator so we can get a better look. From our emulator, it is almost impossible to tell that there's a rating bar right in the middle of the screen. Even if I look really closely, the colors are very difficult to differentiate with the background. When we select a rating, we get a little bit better contrast for the selected or highlighted stars, but it's still not sufficient to meet the success criteria. Let's adjust these colors so we can meet the success criteria of having a contrast ratio of at least 3 to 1. Now, it is much easier to differentiate between the background and then the selected stars on this rating system. If you're still unsure if you're meeting the compliance criteria of having a contrast ratio of at least 3 to 1, you can download the Color Contrast Analyzer, link in the description below, and what it allows you to do is select samples from the particular components of your interface to see if you're conformant with any WCAG criteria. Here we can see we have at least a contrast ratio of 3.6 to 1 with the background to the foreground, and then within the application, and then within the highlighted color to the foreground, we can see we're failing, having only a contrast ratio of 2.7 to 1. And with one more adjustment, we can change the primary color to black, thus resolving this violation, meaning we have a contrast ratio of at least 3, and in this case we have a contrast ratio of 5.8 to 1. And just like that, we've resolved our non-text contrast accessibility violation. What accessibility technologies have you personally tested? Let us know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and happy developing.